Last Night in Soho is directed by Edgar Wright, and it stars Thomasin Mckenzie as Ellie, as she is an up-and-coming fashion designer and she has dreams in the middle of the night of another girl portrayed by Anya-Taylor Joy as Sandy, and it details the slow rise of Sandy's character in London of the 1960s as her slowly rise to fame and glory for it all to go horribly wrong, and it begins to affect both the past and the present. One thing about Edgar Wright's films, is they're not always the same. They're very different from any other movie. So when he takes a specific movie genre, let's just say action or comedy or whatever, they're very different, and he doesn't just do basic cookie cutter stuff. It's very different than anything else, and he likes to add a little spin to it. When you see a movie having these two stars, you would think it would be more of an Anya-Taylor Joy movie, and it's not. It's more of a Thomasin Mckenzie movie, and she does very well. Now, that's nothing to discredit Anya-Taylor Joy as Sandy in this movie, because she does it very well. Both girls do a very excellent job at portraying their characters. One thing that's another highlight of this film is the cinematography. Now, it's very different than in the present, than in the 1960s, and you can see that Edgar Wright was influenced by the styling of the 1960s and his camera work and all. One of the best scenes of cinematography was the dance scene where it just flows between the two characters of Ellie and Sandy throughout, and it was just flawless. You couldn't see any kind of errors or mistakes, and it might be some of the best camera work you'll see in a film all year. Another thing that they highlight really well in this movie is the 1960s style, the color, the scenes, the feeling of the 1960s, especially in London, and how you have this nice rise to fame and glory. And then you also delve into some of the not nice things, as everything is not always what it seems to be, and you slowly, as this movie progresses along, realize that the 1960s isn't always glitz and glamorous as people think it should be. Another thing that they highlight really well is the blending between Ellie and Sandy, as Ellie becomes more influenced by Sandy's behavior and style over time. She does things like dyeing her hair, using some of the lines and phrases that Sandy would use, and over time you begin to realize that these two girls just basically become one, and it's hard to differentiate between the two over time. Now, one big thing that are in these movies is the twist. And while some people would see it coming, there's also another twist that I didn't see coming, and I was very pleased and enjoyed by the second twist. The first twist I kind of saw coming, but the second twist I didn't. Some people might see it, but I didn't, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the one issue that I have with the movie is that the third act is definitely the weakest, because I think it's Edgar Wright has to explain everything that's going on and explaining all the twists that are going on. And it feels like sometimes the momentum gets lost from the first and second act into the third act. Now, some people aren't going to like this movie just based off of the subject matter or the lack of horror. And I'll talk real quick about the lack of horror. This is more of a suspense and thriller film. Now, it does have some horror elements. If you're expecting a full-on out horror film, you might be disappointed. That's not to say that this is a bad movie. You might just need to tone down your expectations and realize that there are some horror elements, but it's not a full-on out horror movie. That all being said, it is still a very good movie. I would recommend you watch it, and I would like to know what y'all think. So please leave a comment down below. Please go out and see this movie. I hope y'all all enjoy watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.